Buenos dias, muchachos. Today is April 17th, 2020. Let's practice today's date. Please follow along with me. Repeat after me. 17 de abril, año 2020. All right, you try by yourself now. Try to do the date by yourself. Very good. It should sound like, if you say it right off the bat, it should sound like 17 de abril, año 2020. Okay? Our objectives for today: students will be able to review subject pronouns and learn about the verb ser. So yesterday I had you guys review subject pronouns, or I taught you about the subject pronouns. Basically, I taught you the pronouns I, you, he, she, we, and they in Spanish. Plus, I gave you a couple other ones, and we talked about how in Spanish there's different ways of saying you when you're referring to uh, people out of respect or informally when you're talking to a friend. So you do have more options in Spanish, like always. You have more options. But so I'm going to review today those with you a little bit, because what I want you to see is the verb ser, which is to be. Okay. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to pull up the grammar notes from yesterday, the ones that I uploaded yesterday, with the subject pronouns. All I want you to do is just kind of pull them up and just have them off to the side so that you can access them as we go through the lesson. So if you're having, these are the ones I'm talking about. So yesterday, these are the assignments I put up. This is the one that I'm talking about, the grammar notes. It would be a good idea to pull them up so that when we go through the lesson today, this is what we're going to do today, this right here. But as you can see, part of it is the subject pronouns. So if you're still trying to figure them out, which I don't see why not, we only spent one day on them. So here are the subject pronouns. You might want to pull this next to you so you can follow along in the lesson. Okay? All right. Well, let's go back. And today you're going to watch today's lesson. Today's lesson is chapter 1. This is going to be called the verb ser. So I'm going to teach you one verb today. This verb is the verb to be. Like, for example, I am, you are, he and she is, we are, and they are. That's what I'm going to teach you today. And yes, this is the hardest thing I will teach you all trimester, because there's little things that go into it. Now, there's an activity in the video you'll see later as we go through it. I just want you to practice this at home, okay? So my expectation for today's work is for you to watch the lesson and to practice the conversation at the very least. Now, if you want to have a little bit more practice with this, and I do give you other work if you want to. This is optional for you to do. It wouldn't be a bad idea to do it anyways, just because since this is the hardest thing I'm going to teach you, you might want to do it, okay? You don't have to. I will review with you guys on Monday this whole thing, and we will review. Let me show you the calendar. We will be reviewing this stuff, the subject pronouns and the verb, on Monday, and then we're gonna have Tuesday and Thursday as review days because your first summative is coming up. It's gonna be next Friday, okay? But we're gonna take it day by day. I'm letting you know now that it's next Friday, so you can start to think about it in your heads, okay? And we will review this stuff on Monday. So if you're still not 100% sure on this stuff, the verb, don't worry about it. Okay. Now, I do have that worksheet. It is optional. Let me show it to you really quick. It is part of the grammar ones. So if you've been doing these with the definite articles, indefinite articles, this one was with adjectives, but it followed the rule. This is the one that I'm going to give you today. This is just extra practice for that verb. and it's just this page, okay? Again, it's optional. I even put it in the directions. I will put the answer sheet on Monday so that you have the answers. And then I have a video to complement today's lesson. It is right here. It is by the same people that you've seen the videos from these guys before, the Learn Spanish World. And they just basically go over how to conjugate the verb. And that's what I'm going to teach you today. Okay? You can see it a different way. It might help you to see it a different way visually. So, okay. Now let's get started. So today, I'm going to teach you the verb ser. So let's just practice saying the verb really quick. This verb is called ser. Ser. Now, ser is to be or not to be. Oh, yeah. Now, the first thing I want you to do is I want you to look at this chart right over here. You're going to see this chart a lot. Not only are you going to see it in the textbook, not only are you going to see this in the notes, okay, but you're also going to see this all the time. What I mean by all the time is I'm teaching you this right now. This is technically something that you learn to do in high school, but I'm teaching it to you now because you're going to see it a lot. And I think it would be important not only to learn the subject pronouns, but if I teach you how to do this now, then when you get to high school, you're not going to have a hard time with this. I'm going to try my best to teach it to you straight up. Okay. Now, this is all about teaching you how to conjugate or basically how to put together a sentence where you're saying, I am, you are, he is, she is, we are, they are. That's basically what we're doing. So that you can start to form sentences like, I am, hold on, I'm going to think of one. I am short, okay? I am a short person. But if I wanted to say that in Spanish, you know how to say I. Yesterday we learned yo. You don't know how to say am, but you know how to say short. Bajo, because I'm a guy, right? Bajo. Or baja if you're a girl. So I'm going to teach you am. Okay? As an example. So you can start to form sentences. Now, this chart, what I would do if I was you is you do have it in your notes, in your grammar notes. But it wouldn't be a bad idea to just take out a piece of paper and just write down the chart off to the side. The reason why I have you guys do that, the act of writing things down is you studying. If you do that, it takes you 2 minutes and your brain's actually learning how to do this. All right? So just do it. It takes you 5 minutes. Now, you can pause the video at any point and refer back to this chart. What you see in this chart are the subject pronouns on the left, okay? The ones we went over yesterday, like yo, tú, usted. Notice how it's abbreviated. Él and ella. Nosotros. This in parentheses is if you were going to say nosotras, the feminine version. Or yeah. Vosotros and vosotras. Remember, this one is special because they only use it in Spain. And then you have ustedes, ellos, and ellas. Okay? If you're not sure what these are, go back to yesterday's lesson and watch it again because I went over these. And these are the verbs. Soy, eres, es, somos, sois, son. You have, ready? I'm going to follow along with the mouse and I'm going to translate all of these into English. I am. You are. Remember, this you is if you're talking to a friend. You are. He is. She is. You formal are. Remember, you formal is like if you're talking to an adult, a teacher, a paramedic, somebody you want to have respect for, somebody you don't know well. Your grandparents, because out of respect, okay? These two would be we are and we are. Now, why did I say it twice? Because if you're talking about guys, like we are, and you're including a group of guys, we are. Nosotros somos. If it's just a group of girls, and if I was a girl and I was saying, oh, we are, it would be nosotras somos. And if it's a mixed group, nosotros somos. All right? This one, I'm going to leave for last because it always confuses me. But these are going to be they are feminine, they are masculine, and you all are. Because in Spanish, you can say you all, we use the word y'all. Okay? Kind of like in the South. You know how you hear people say y'all all the time? This is the Spanish y'all right here. Ustedes. Okay? This one is also y'all or you all, but this one is only for, it's an informal way to say it. So if you're talking about a group of friends, if you're still confused about this one, I suggest you watch that video yesterday with the girl because she explains it really well. Now, number 2, this chart, we're going to come back to it a lot. Note that the form of the verb changes with each subject. Since the verb changes the subject pronouns, yo, tú, usted, él, ella, nosotros, nosotras, ustedes, ellos, and ellas are often omitted or taken out in Spanish. Now, this little note here, don't worry about it too much right now. The important thing that I want you to get out of this is that the words on the left are your subject pronouns. I, you, he, she, we, and they. And the words on the right side are the verbs. Now, what I do want you to get out of this little part right here, it says, note that the form of the verb changes with each subject. I'm going to pretend like this chart is an English chart. I am. So what form of the verb to be do we use for I? Am, right? Okay. So we have one form of the verb, I am. You are. That's a second form, are. Am and are, that's 2, right? He and she is. Okay, so that's a third form of the verb. We have am, are, and is. Hey, look, this one's like the one we've already seen before, right? Is and s. Now, notice what happens when we get to the plural version. We, what form of the verb to be do we use? We are. So once again, we're using that form of the verb are. So we still only have 3. I am, you are, he and she is. Here we go back to are. Vosotros is not used in English, and then we have they are. So once again, we're using that are for you are, we are, they are. So how many forms of the verb do we use in English? 3. Am, are, and is. Only 3. Very simple, very straightforward. In Spanish, there's pros and cons to it doing it differently. All right. As you can see, every single form of the verb is different. Yo soy, tú eres, usted, él, and ella es, nosotros, nosotras somos, vosotros, vosotras sois, ustedes, ellos, and ellas son. So what I want you to get out of this is that in English, there's only 3 forms of the verb. Am, are, is. That's it. In Spanish, there's 6 different verbs. Now, the con to this is that, yes, you have to learn 6 of them. That's why this stuff is tricky. Because you're used to doing it one way. You're only worried about 3 forms of the verb. Now I'm showing you 6. But there is a pro to this, and it's what they say right here in the text. The subject pronouns are often omitted in Spanish. So because there's a different one for each one of these, I don't want you to worry about it right now, but just so you know, you don't have to say I am, you are, he or she is. You can literally say am, is, and are without using the subject pronoun because every single one of these has a different one, okay? You can't really do that in English because in English you could, let's say you wanted to say you are, right? I can't just say are cool because who's cool? You, we, or they. You see what I mean? In Spanish, it doesn't really matter because whichever one of these verb forms of the verb you use, you will know which one, what subject you're referring to. Okay, I spent a lot of time on this chart. I did that for a reason. You're going to see it a lot. You're going to see it now. You're going to see it if you have me in 6th grade. You're probably going to see this again next year. And if you're in 7th grade, you're going to see it again in 8th grade. And for 8th graders, I know you're thinking to yourself, oh, sweet, I don't have to worry about this. Well, when you get to high school, you do have to take a foreign language. This will come up, and I'm trying my hardest to make this easier for you. You're not, usually you don't see this chart until you get to high school. So I wanted to show it to you, okay? All right, now let's get into what they're going to show us. Now, notice here we have some examples of how to say these sentences. So here this girl says, yo soy Juana. You use yo to talk about yourself. So that's why yesterday when we went over the subject pronouns, I had you point to yourself. So let's practice saying this sentence, and then I want you to tell me what she is saying. Ready? Yo soy Juana. Take a guess as to what she just said. Yo soy Juana. Pausing point. All right. The subject pronoun is yo, which is I. Soy is the form of the verb to be that goes with yo. So she's saying, I am. And what is her name? Juana. I am Juana. I want you to practice this now with your own name. Point to yourself and say, yo soy, and then say your name. Ready, go. Okay. Let's practice. Yo soy Mr. Perez. And I pointed to myself. Okay. It's also good to do the movements. Pointing to yourself, pointing to others. It's also another way to remember it. Now, here we have a group of people. Okay. Something that I would like to remind you guys, because this is something that I want you to think about. When you say we, all right, nosotros, we, you're included in that group. Let's say this is you right here. When you say we, you are part of the group, okay? I know this may sound kind of silly now, but trust me, when we get to the conjugating the verbs, you're going to want to remember that. If you're part of the group, okay, nosotros, nosotras. Now it's two boys here. That's why they used nosotros. If it was a boy and a girl, would it be nosotros or nosotras? What do you think? Yes. If it was a mixed group, nosotros. It would still be nosotros, boy and girl. But if it was two girls, nosotras. Now it says, practice with me. Nosotros somos alumnos. And what do you think they're saying? We are students. Notice the consistency in Spanish. Plural masculine, plural masculine, plural masculine. Thought I'd bring it back. You use nosotros or nosotras to talk about yourself and someone else. Don't forget, nosotros, nosotras, you are part of that group. Now here it says you use él or ella to talk about someone. Él, first of all, do you notice a little accent over the el, over él? If you write down el with a little accent over it, you're saying he. If you don't have an accent, guess what that is? It is el, like the. Okay? Just thought I'd point that out in case you were wondering. Now, él es rubio. He is blonde. All right? He's got blonde color hair. Y ella es rubia también. And she is blonde as well. Okay? So practice with me. Él es rubio. Y ella es rubia también. All right, boys and girls, we're almost there. Now let's talk about they, okay? In Spanish, you have more options. Remember, you're always saying they masculine, they feminine. We're being more specific. Here you have an example. Ellos son cubanos. Why is she saying ellos? Pausing point. Two guys, masculine words. Ellos son cubanos. Ellos is they, masculine. Ellas is they, feminine. Notice how the group is just two girls or two women. Ellas son, and notice the ending here, mexicanas. They are Mexican. But more specifically, they are Mexican women because in Spanish, we're a little more specific in our grammar. Ellos son cubanos. If they were two women, ellas son cubanas. Got to keep it consistent. All right. Notice here how the ending is feminine. The ending is feminine. Have you noticed, however, that the verbs don't worry about gender? You still use son for masculine and son for feminine. Notice how here, in this example, even though they're nosotros, you use somos, but if it was nosotras, it would still be somos. So the verb does not go with the gender. Everything else does, not the verb. Okay? And here you have a mixed group. Here you have the four of them together. So which one do you go with? The masculine or the feminine version? You go with the masculine version. Ellos son amigos. They are friends. Use ellos and ellas to talk about two or more people. Note that ellos also refers to a group of males and females. So we've talked about this before. Unlike in English, this is the super tricky part, but please follow along. Unlike in English, there are several ways to express you in Spanish. You use tú when speaking to a friend or person the same age. So, whenever you see this word tú, I want you to think of a friend. José, tú eres de México, ¿no? So somebody's asking Jose a question. Jose, you are from Mexico, right? Now, why would they use tú? Because Jose is probably that person's friend. Okay? It says you use usted when speaking to an adult or someone you do not know well. Usted, often abbreviated UD, that's why in the chart you see it as UD, shows respect. Now, who do you show respect to? That's really up to you and how you want to use the Spanish language. I've tried to give you a basic guideline, which is if it's an adult, you want to show respect. If it's somebody that has authority over you, such as a police officer, a lawyer, a doctor, anybody that you want to has a respectable is to be respected. Even a janitor, all right, even the cafeteria lady, it's still an adult. It's still somebody you want to show respect to. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Not because I think you guys are disrespectful, but because when you use Spanish, you want to use it correctly. Not so you sound like a robot, but so that you sound nice, so that it sounds genuine. So you know what you're doing with the language. Now, here an example is probably a teacher or Mr., just Señor López. Usted es de México, ¿no? So here's the same question. They're asking the same question, but notice here they use usted because the subject is not a friend anymore. It's Mr. López, okay? Ustedes is a plural form. In the plural, there is no distinction. So here you could be talking about boys or girls. Use ustedes when addressing two or more friends or adults. So ustedes is basically either this one, usted, or tú together. For ustedes, you could be talking to little kids, you could be talking to an adult, doesn't matter. Because if you notice, it's the formal version. So it doesn't really matter, does it? You're just being formal regardless. ¿Son ustedes de México? Are you all from Mexico? Now you could be talking to a group of kids, you could be talking to a group of adults. It doesn't matter because it's still the formal way to say it. However, this is the special one. Vosotros and vosotras is used in Spain as the plural of tú when addressing two or more friends. Sois de España, no? Y'all from Spain, right? Now, if this helps you to remember it, ready? You like you're talking to a friend. You, like you're talking to an adult. You all, or y'all, like you're talking to friends. Y'all, like you're talking to adults or little kids or anybody. Okay? Hopefully that helps a little bit. I know this stuff can be a little tricky, but you'll get the hang of it. No worries, guys. All right? I'll have you practice. If you're doing the practices, you're watching the videos, you will be fine. Those exit tickets, only 10 questions each, they're fine. Práctica para la conversación. Oh, practica la conversación. Practice conversation. This is the conversation I want you to do later. It's in your directions. All I want you to do is just go over it. I'm going to read the conversation so that you can hear how to correctly say these words, all right? Practice the conversation with a classmate. Your classmate can be your parents at home. It can't be a pet today because they can't talk back. But please take turns playing each role. Pay close attention to the verb form you use when speaking about yourself as opposed to talking to a friend. So here you're only going to see two forms of the verb. You're only going to see yourself, so I, so it's going to be soy, right? You're going to have a conversation between you and I. So the only two forms of the verb you're going to see are soy and eres. But the conversation has you kind of go through it and see it differently. What do I mean by that? Let's go through the conversation. Here we have a person named Susana and then a person named Andres. Ready? Susana says, hola. The other person is going to want to say, hola. ¿Quién eres? ¿Quién eres? Who are you? Remember, ¿quién means who? Eres are, who are, and how do I know you? It's you because remember, this form of the verb is the one that goes with you, is the only one that goes with you. So you're literally saying, hi, who are, but in Spanish, you know that you mean who are you because it's the only one that goes with you. Informal, friend. Hola, hola, ¿quién eres? ¿Quién, yo? Sí, tú. When you go through this, try to point. Yo, point to yourself. Tú, point to the other person. Pues, that means well. Soy Susana. I am Susana. Susana Gómez. ¿Y tú quién eres? And you, who are you? Soy Andrés. Andrés Álvarez. Mucho gusto, Andrés. ¿Eres de Estados Unidos? No, soy de México. De México. Increíble. Yo también soy mexicana. Okay, a couple of things here. In here, you did not see the subject pronouns I or you used as often. Why? Because in Spanish, you can take them away. For example, ¿quién eres? You can literally say ¿quién eres in Spanish, or you can always add the subject pronoun if you want to. You can say hola, ¿quién eres? Or you can say ¿quién eres tú? Here, you can say pues soy Susana, or you can say pues yo soy Susana. You can do that. You don't have to omit it. Often it's omitted because you don't really have to do it. But you have that option. So try to do this conversation with a partner today, with somebody, okay? And that brings us to the end of today's lesson. This is the hardest thing I will teach you. So on Monday, we'll review this. I will do the interactive version, which is in the textbook, and I'll have you practice so that we can get ready for the summative on Friday, the 24th. Things that are coming up before I leave you. Monday, review of the verb and the subject pronouns. On the 21st, we're going to review vocabulary. So the vocabulary that we did for this chapter, we're going to review it. On Wednesday is just a student work day. On the 23rd, we're going to review the grammar. So we're going to review definite, indefinite articles, and this that I just taught you with the verb. Your summative is going to be on the 24th. Also, look for me to give you your last exit ticket for this chapter. So exit ticket number 3, I'm probably going to give it to you on Monday. Okay? If you have any questions, please reach out to me during my office hours. I hope you guys have a really good weekend. Please watch the videos. Do not use Google Translate unless it is to practice or to support what you're doing. Don't use it on the formatives. Not because I don't like Google Translate, but because you're going to get answers wrong. So try to avoid it for that. Other than that, I hope you guys have a great weekend. All right. Hasta luego, muchachos. Nos vemos luego. Chao.